I never could have imagined that a simple airplane journey would turn into a chaotic battle between cultural pride and entitled ignorance. Little did I know that Karen would rip out my turban on the plane because it's blocking her view. Here's how it all went down. Alright, so here's the scene. I was super excited to visit my cousin in California after what felt like ages of not seeing each other. We had planned this incredible week of just hanging out, catching up, and maybe even trying our luck at surfing. Well, he would surf and I would probably end up face planting in the sand, but hey, it's all about the experience, right? Arriving at the airport way too early, as per my mom's usual paranoia about missing flights, I found myself with plenty of time to kill. So, I decided to indulge in my customary airport breakfast, a slightly stale bagel accompanied by an overpriced cup of coffee. Not that I'm complaining though, it has become somewhat of a tradition for me. After aimlessly strolling through the same 3 airport shops, I finally made my way to the boarding gate, ready to embark on this adventure. Being the smart dude that I am, I'd booked a window seat. Why? 'Cause there's nothing cooler than watching the hustle and bustle of the airport slowly fade away. Plus, I kinda have this ritual of waving goodbye to the city as I leave. Cheesy, I know. Now, dressed in my usual chill attire, jeans and a tee, with my turban sitting proudly on my head, I settled into my seat. The turban, by the way, isn't just a fashion statement. It's an integral part of who I am, rooted deep in my culture and beliefs. As I was adjusting my headphones, ready to drown out the world, she sat behind me. You know the type. The very definition of a Karen. Blonde bob that looked like it asked to speak to managers for fun. Those oversized sunglasses that she never took off, like, seriously, we're inside. And this attitude like she owned the plane or something. I heard her make this annoying tisk sound a couple of times, but I brushed it off. I mean, I was in my own world, playlist ready, the trip just beginning. What could go wrong? Oh boy, was I in for a surprise. Then it began. Excuse me? She tapped my shoulder. Could you, take that thing off? It's kinda in my way. I turned, a bit taken aback. Sorry, this is a religious headwear for me. I can't just remove it. Karen rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd stick. Oh, come on. Just for the flight? It's blocking my view. The top of my head is blocking your view. Of what exactly? She waved her hand around. Just, the plane, stuff. I tried not to laugh. Sorry, ma'am. I can't help with that. But Karen, being the ever-persistent Karen, was far from done. As the flight progressed, there was this palpable tension in the air, like an unlit matchstick just waiting for the right moment. Every now and then, I'd feel the weight of her gaze at the back of my head. It was like she was trying to mentally will me into removing my turban. I could hear her muttering under her breath, sometimes even sighing loudly. At one point, she leaned over to her husband, whispering something I couldn't catch, but it sounded urgent and laced with frustration. Her husband, probably used to her antics or just wanting a quiet flight, simply shrugged and dove back into the movie playing on his screen, ignoring her. Just when I thought things were settling and she had given up, it happened. There I was, in the middle of enjoying a particularly good packet of peanuts and sipping my ginger ale, when I felt a sudden jerk on my head. Karen, in a burst of audacity I couldn't have even imagined, reached forward, got a firm grip on my turban and gave it a strong yank, nearly tossing it into the aisle. "Take that turban off! It's blocking my view!" she screeched. A collective gasp filled our section of the plane. Everyone stared, a few with their mouths hanging open in disbelief. My turban was now lopsided, half off, and my hair lay exposed and disheveled. For a moment, I was frozen, trying to process the audacity of the act. Snapping back to reality, my voice tinged with anger and disbelief, I exclaimed, "Are you crazy?" Frantically, I tried to refix my turban, feeling a mix of embarrassment and rage. The flight attendant, having heard the commotion, rushed over, her face a mask of shock and concern. "Ma'am," she said firmly, trying to control the situation, "you absolutely cannot do that. It's not only disrespectful, but a violation of his personal space and religious rights." Karen, with her sunglasses somehow still perched on her nose indoors, gave a dramatic huff. "He just shouldn't be blocking my view." I glanced behind, trying to figure out her logic. What view? You mean of the back of my seat or the in-flight safety card?" The flight attendant, hands on her hips, looked equally baffled. "Ma'am, everyone's here to sit and travel, not enjoy panoramic views of seatbacks." Karen, not to be deterred by logic, snapped, "I paid for this seat. I have rights." Another passenger quipped, "Yeah, and the right to view a seat isn't one of them." The flight attendant, trying to defuse the situation, said, "Ma'am, we have a vacant seat a few rows ahead. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable there." Karen, rolling her eyes dramatically, snatched her bag and stomped her way to the new seat, mumbling about unbelievable inconveniences and writing a strongly worded letter to the airline. I could swear I heard her husband let out a relieved sigh. To make up for the insanity, the flight attendant offered me an upgrade to first class. "For your troubles," she whispered with a sympathetic smile. As tempting as it was, I declined. Honestly, I just want to chill and forget about, well, all this. When the plane finally touched down and everyone was making their way out, I got quite a few reassuring pats on the back and sympathetic looks. One elderly lady with a glint of mischief in her eyes whispered as she passed, "Sorry about the nut job. Some people really shouldn't be allowed out in public." I figured the drama with Karen had ended, but man, was I wrong. As I stepped into the aisle to grab my bag from the overhead compartment, I could hear that unmistakably shrill voice, still going on about the turban fiasco. "No one understands! It was ruining my in-flight experience!" she ranted to a flight attendant. The poor woman was just nodding, the universal sign of, "I'm paid to listen to you, but I really wish I didn't have to." I exchanged an amused glance with the guy next to me, who just rolled his eyes and whispered, "Some people, right?" Meeting up with my cousin, who'd come to pick me up, I quickly narrated the wild tale. As we drove away from the airport, he laughed. "Man, your trips are never boring, are they?" "Nope," I said, laughing, "and thanks to Karen, this one's going down in history." So as we rolled away, I thought to myself, travel sure does bring its challenges, but it also comes with stories that'll last a lifetime. And hey, if nothing else, I got a crazy Karen story out of it. Every cloud, right? Another reason why I prefer road trips. But seriously, respect each other's space, people. Let's spread love and understanding, not ignorance. I never expected a harmless prank to spiral into a heart-wrenching dilemma. What started as a playful message to a friend quickly turned into a devastating mistake that threatened to shatter our friendship. Here's how it all went down. Ever since I got into animation as a hobby, I have been fortunate enough to meet some incredibly talented people. Each person I encountered has played a significant role in shaping my skills, and I often joked with my friends in the community that without their support, I would probably still be stuck drawing stick figures. One day, while browsing through an online animation forum, I came across the work of a girl named Lisa. As I scrolled through her posts, my jaw dropped with each model she showcased. I couldn't help but mutter to myself in disbelief, "Is she for real?" The quality of her work was absolutely outstanding, surpassing mere models and venturing into the realm of masterpieces that deserve to be seen on the big screen. I couldn't resist. "Hey Lisa," I typed excitedly one day, "your models are out of this world. Could you possibly create one for me?" Our bond grew stronger as we continued to collaborate. It was during our collaboration that I discovered our shared love for a particular 3D animated series, which served as the inspiration for her remarkable models. It felt like destiny had brought us together, as if we were kindred spirits, united by our passion for animation. The models she created for me were nothing short of breathtaking, each one a masterpiece in its own right. One evening, as I was leisurely scrolling through my social media feed, I stumbled upon a trend that Lisa had started on her profile, the anonymous message. Intrigued by the idea, a mischievous grin formed on my face. I couldn't resist the temptation to play a harmless prank on her. I decided to pretend to be the voice actress of her favorite character from the show and send her a message. With a chuckle, I typed out the words, "Hey there, just wanted to say I absolutely adore your work. Keep shining." Little did I know that this innocent prank would soon turn into a heart-wrenching dilemma, threatening the very foundation of our friendship. I woke up earlier than usual the next day, rubbing my eyes as I reached for my phone. The first thing I saw was Lisa's post. "OMG! Can't believe the voice actress saw and appreciated my work!" Alongside were emojis of stars and happy tears. Her excitement jumped right off the screen. My stomach instantly knotted up. I genuinely thought she'd laugh, maybe even call out the joke. That's what any of my other friends would have done. But seeing her reaction, I knew I'd made a huge mistake. I took a few moments to gather my thoughts before texting her. "Hey Lisa, I need to come clean about something. That message from the voice actress. It was actually from me. I thought it'd be a harmless joke, but now I realize it was anything but." She was quick to respond. "What? Seriously, why would you do that?" The disbelief was clear in her words. I hesitated for a bit, trying to find the right words. "I honestly thought you'd see through it and laugh it off. I never wanted to hurt you. I messed up. Big time." There was a pause before she replied. "This wasn't just a joke to me. That message meant the world. It's hard to believe you play with my feelings like that." "I'm so sorry, Lisa," I typed out, my fingers trembling slightly. "I should have thought it through. I never wanted to make you feel this way." She didn't reply immediately. When she did, her words were short and pointed. "I need some time," I sighed, putting my phone down. "Of course," I replied, feeling defeated. "Take all the time you need." Feeling like the world's biggest goof, I wanted to share this experience. Not to get people on my side, but to remind everyone, myself included, that sometimes what we think is funny might not be funny to others. Always think before you act. The next day I took a leap based on someone's advice and tried to get in touch with the voice actress. There was this glimmer of hope when I found her on Cameo, and with my heart in my throat, I shelled out the extra bucks to get an express shout-out for Lisa. I thought, maybe this could be a step in making things right. But 24 hours ticked by, and nothing. I'm now staring at my screen, wondering if I'd just thrown my money into a void. I'll be chasing that refund, that's for sure. After realizing the magnitude of my mistake, I knew I needed to properly apologize. Taking a deep breath to brace myself, I went online to send her a heartfelt message, but I was met with the gut punch of a blocked notification. It felt like the ground had been yanked out from under me. There had been this little hope, this tiny part of me that believed we might still work this out, but seeing that blocked status felt like the door had been slammed shut on that possibility. However, when I checked Twitter, I found she hadn't blocked me there. I clung to that small detail, hoping it might mean she just needed some space right now and wasn't cutting me off completely. Still, I knew better than to DM her. If she ever wanted to reach out, that was up to her. I've thought about maybe having one of our mutual friends pass on my apology, but once I do that, I'll step back. I've come to understand that any decision to mend our friendship has to come from her. Looking back, the prank was a bad call. My close circle of friends would have found it funny, but Lisa, she's different. I should have realized that. But instead, I went ahead without thinking, and now I'm grappling with the consequences. I'm not sharing this to get pity or to justify my actions. Honestly, it's been a rough couple of days. I don't have a large group of friends to lean on, and it's been tough to face the fact that I might have lost one of the few I had. I wish I had the chance to set things right, but maybe some things aren't meant to be fixed no matter how much we wish they could be. It's a tough lesson to learn, but one thing's clear. Even if someone chooses to walk away, for whatever reason, it's their choice and we have to respect it. Pranks can sometimes have unintended consequences, and it's important to consider how our actions might affect others, especially when it comes to matters that are important to them. It takes courage to reflect on our mistakes and learn from them. I hope you can use this experience to grow and become more mindful of the impact your actions can have on others. Remember, building and maintaining friendships is a two-way street, and it's important to nurture and respect those connections. Best of luck on your journey of personal growth and understanding. I never expected a routine trip to the furniture store to turn into a tense encounter with a grumpy elderly man. Little did I know that his frustration would escalate, revealing a deeper longing for the customer service of yesteryears. As I observed the situation unfold, I couldn't help but wonder if there was more to this disgruntled gent than met the eye. Here's how it all went down. So, the other day, I figured it was time to replace my old recliner. That thing had seen better days. After 13 years, it was worn out, and it wasn't helping with my sleep issues. Thinking of all those times I'd crashed on it after a long day, binging TV shows or just chilling, made me a bit sentimental. But hey, I needed a new one that would actually help me sleep better. So, I headed to the Lazy Boy showroom, hoping to find something comfy. The place was big, with lots of chairs everywhere. Honestly, it was kind of overwhelming. Some were too squishy, some too stiff. I wasn't just looking for a new chair. I wanted one that would feel like the one. Thankfully, Heather was there to help. She was the only staff member around and was super patient with me, even though I had a ton of questions. As we checked out different recliners, we started chatting and laughing about random stuff, like my crazy pets. It felt good, you know? It wasn't just about buying a chair. It was about that fun chat with Heather, finding the right recliner, and just enjoying the day. After what felt like forever, I finally found a recliner that seemed perfect. As Heather and I started walking to her desk to deal with the paperwork, I couldn't resist sharing some antics of my pets, trying to lighten the mood. Oh man, Heather, you wouldn't believe what my Bull Arab Red Heeler Beagle mix does, I began, trying to paint a picture. Every time my sons are about to head out and they put on their shoes, he'll jump up, gently grabbing their wrists in his mouth. It's like he's telling them, "Nope, you're not going anywhere without me," Heather giggled. That's so cute. Pets have this funny way of letting us know how they feel, don't they? Oh, absolutely, and don't get me started on my cat. Just as I was about to dive into another tale, we were abruptly cut off by a rather flustered elderly gentleman. Excuse me, is this a place to buy furniture or swap pet stories? First I heard about dogs and now cats, what's next? Goldfish? He looked around mockingly, an eyebrow raised in challenge. Caught off guard, Heather and I exchanged looks, trying to gauge the situation. But before we could even process what was happening, he went on. I've been waiting for someone to help me with my recliner, but no, apparently pet tales are more important. Taking a deep breath, I tried to diffuse the situation. Look, I'm really sorry, we might have gone off on a tangent, but trust me, Heather has been great in assisting me. But the elderly man was on a roll. I can see that, because while she's yapping away with you, I've been left in the lurch. My recliner's got issues, and she, pointing a shaky finger at Heather, is just ignoring me like I'm invisible. Heather, gathering her patience, replied calmly, I truly apologize. I'm the only one here today, and I promise I'll assist you as soon as we're done here. For warranty claims, you'd need to send an email to start off, though. Mr. Grumpy seemed momentarily appeased, but his mutterings about proper customer service and good old days continued as he wandered off. presumably looking for more things or people to complain about. As Heather got down to the nitty-gritty of the paperwork, I decided to hang back and keep an eye on the elderly man. Call it professional habit, but my years working in security have taught me to always be ready, especially when things could potentially escalate. Although, to be fair, the idea of this older, smaller gentleman posing any physical threat seemed rather comical. But I'd learned never to underestimate people based solely on their appearance. Tapping his foot with impatience, the old man turned his gaze toward me, his eyes a mix of annoyance and resignation. "You know," he began, slightly raising his voice for emphasis, "all she had to do was give me a nod. A little "I'll be right with you." Is that too much to ask? Without waiting for my response, he shook his head, his face lined with frustration. "The service used to be different in my time," he muttered more to himself than to me, seemingly lost in a memory of a bygone era. He then made his exit, each step echoing his discontent, a clear picture of a man feeling ignored and undervalued. I couldn't help but empathize a little. Heather, noticing our little exchange, took a deep breath and tried to explain. "I always believe in giving my all to one person at a time," she said, her voice calm but with a hint of weariness. "I didn't want to split my attention." "But I get why he felt left out," I nodded, offering a reassuring smile. "You can't please everyone all the time. You were just doing your job." We both shared a knowing look, recognizing the universal truth that in customer service, there's always that one person who's impossible to please. As I was readying to head out, the door's familiar jingle signaled the elderly man's return. His face was a storm cloud of annoyance, and I braced myself for the inevitable shower of complaints. "You know," he started, pointing an accusing finger at Heather, "back in my day, customer service meant something. Not like this circus." Heather, who had been polite and patient this entire time, took a deep breath, but before she could respond, I decided to step in. "Sir," I began, trying to keep my tone even. "I've been through the warranty process with my own recliner, and I can assure you, when Heather mentions the email procedure, it's not a tactic to dismiss you, it's genuinely how things work around here." The old man's glare switched to me, sizing me up. "Oh, so now you're defending her? Are you on their payroll or something?" Rolling my eyes internally but keeping my exterior calm, I responded, "No, but sometimes an outsider's perspective helps, just trying to make things easier for everyone here." Heather, seizing the moment, added, "Honestly, sir, it's our standard procedure. We want to assist you." The man huffed, looking from me to Heather, then back to me. "Seems like you know more about this place than some of the staff," he quipped, a sarcastic edge to his voice. "Maybe they should hire you." To my amusement, Heather jumped on the idea, grinning cheekily. "How about it? Want a job?" I chuckled, shaking my head. As tempting as that sounds, my daily commute would be a bit much. With one last grumble, the man seemed to concede, and I made my exit. While driving home, my phone rang. Seeing Heather's name flash on the screen, I picked up. "Thank you," she began. "He actually apologized after you left. Your words made a difference." I smiled, thinking maybe, just maybe, if I lived a tad closer, I could have enjoyed a new career path at Lazy Boy. Who knew? The customer felt ignored and frustrated due to the conversation about cats, resulting in a lack of assistance for his recliner issues. In such situations, businesses should prioritize customer service and effective communication to prevent customer dissatisfaction and inconvenience. If you enjoyed today's stories, check out the other videos on your screen now. Submit your own stories at you'rethejerk.com. Subscribe now, or you're definitely the jerk.